Welcome to Emerald Hill Skies. My name's Doug Lucas and we're here on the outskirts of Louisville, Kentucky. Had a bit of a scare tonight. The USB signal dropped from the observatory. Took us a while to troubleshoot that. We went out there and power cycled everything, but we didn't think of power cycling the little receiver box that's inside here. Thought I might just take the camera down and show you what that box looks like so you can see the way it works. It's located right there, and it's the little interpreter box that interprets the fiber optic signals that come in from the observatory. And if these lights are blinking, that's bad. So remember, blinking is bad. And boy, they were blinking all over the place tonight. And finally we thought of, we probably need to power cycle that box too. Once we power cycle that box, which was about 7 minutes ago, everything seemed to work. So it's like in the spirit of amateur astronomy. What can possibly go wrong? Let's see, what else we got going on? Well, I want to welcome you guys. Thanks for those of you who were here the other night for the Messier Marathon. We were able to get 109 out of the 110 objects in the Messier catalog. And that's thanks to you guys who were kind of cheering on the whole process. And we were, I don't know, it's about 12 hours on that marathon. So we're back now just 3 nights later to continue in our chase of the Herschel 400. I think we're down to the last 82 objects out of 400 objects. So let's just see who's on tonight. Let me check this audio too, make sure our audio is coming through. Yeah. There's Michael. Welcome back, Michael. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you from Ohio. Ray, good to have you on from Arizona. You are so faithful, man. Let's see, Stu. You're saying that St. Patrick's Day was yesterday for you. Let's see what else we got here. Stu's got coffee. Flatwater 5. Wow, you've got the Aurora Borealis in Dallas. That rhymes. Pier-Tech, good to have you back. Vito, good to have you here, man. Simon, yes, it does look like we have a few clouds. They weren't in the forecast, but look at that terrible bank. I'm hoping that they just fly through and then they're out of here. That's what I'm hoping. So sorry about that. Corin, good to have you back. All right, so let's get going tonight. Let's see. I think we'll start out by checking out the cloud banks there. Boy, that's a mean looking set of clouds. You can see the RASA there on the left in this Pier-Tech 2 observatory. Sits on top of a Pier-Tech adjustable height frame, and when you raise that frame up, it raises the mount, which is an iOptron CEM70G mount. It gets it up so that the scope can actually see pretty much even with the horizon, more or less. And that iOptron mount is carrying a RASA 11-inch aperture, and that RASA has on its business end ZWO ASI2600MC Pro. It's hooked to a camera interface made by Octopi-Astro, and that lets us adjust out tilt for the most part. Down at the base of the rack there, all these power supplies, power distribution points in the box that converts the signals to fiber optic relay and sends it into here. On top of the scope, there's a little equipment plate. You can see it from the back view there on the left, and on the right you can see from a top view it has a Pegasus Astro power box mounted on top of a Pegasus Astro USB distribution box, and also a little ZWO ASI178 monochrome camera that's not looking through a telescope. That gives us about a 150-degree view of the sky. And what I'm hoping is that these clouds are going to move through, and that's going to be the end of it, because we had understood that we would have a clear sky tonight from our Clear Sky app. This is Friday night. Yeah, see, look. Those clouds aren't really there. This green means that it's completely clear. 0 clouds at the low end, 0 medium, zero high. So those clouds are a complete figment of our imagination. So hopefully they'll scoot out of the way. That's just one cloud bank, and then it'll all be done. I don't know if you guys are fans of basketball tonight, but I just finished watching with my wife Penny. I just finished watching the, what was the name of this school? FDU, Fairleigh Dickinson University in New Jersey, ranked 16th, playing against Purdue, which was ranked number 1 in basketball. And I want you to know that 16th ranked school was able to pull off a victory against Purdue. It's only the second time, I think, and could that be right, in all of history, that a 16th ranked team has knocked off a first ranked team in the round of 64. So it's quite a big deal tonight if you're a big fan of basketball. Wow, Stu, you've got 200 earthquakes just 100 kilometers away. So you've got aftershocks going on. Sorry about that. John, good to have you up there in Magdalena, or over there in Magdalena, New Mexico. Stu's on from Tauranga. And Ray, glad you've got some clear skies. So Stu, you keep us informed. I hope for sure that you will not face any more aftershocks. Dane, good to have you. I think you're from up there in what? Minnesota somewhere, I think. You don't like basketball anymore, Stu, because the New Zealanders, the Kiwis, just lost to the Aussies. So sorry to hear about that. That is no good. We are so sorry to hear about that. Let's see, our scope is connected over here in our... So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go over to our targeting software, and let's see. Here in our targeting software, I think we've got one single glob, and we're going to go to it first. And that's the only globular cluster we have the entire night. And I think, if my understanding was correct, when I looked just a while ago, I think that that globular is the only non-galactic object left in the Herschel 400. After we do this globular, everything else in the Herschel 400 is a galaxy. So we're going to try to scoot through these galaxies using, you know, the new muscle memory we've supposedly learned from those 109 objects in the Messier Marathon. Try to go through these fairly quickly. So let's have a look. Let's see. You can see there are a few skies peeking through there tonight. Not enough to plate solve. Again, going back to the scope on the left, and then you can see the sky. Oh my goodness, what do you think of that? That's supposed to be a figment of our imagination. Books, I think you're also from Australia. So sorry that our sky looks like yours does, Books. I hate Clavin Limb. How doable do you think the Witch Head Nebula is in EAA? I would think it would be doable. Stu says Wikipedia is ready. Michael says Stu is ready. I think the Witch Head would be doable. You can basically do any object in the sky with EAA, so I would think it would be doable. Look, you can see the stars peeking through those, in between those. What those are dark matter between those clouds. And you can see the stars peeking through. Back to our screen view. Now this is just 3 seconds, but every once in a while you'll see stars, like up here. And so my hope is this is all going to clear away. You know, when we came tonight, around 9:30 or 9:40, it was just clear as a bell. And I had Clement says it's quite large and quite dim, though. let's go out here and say which head nebula oh yes, I think I remember this. Which head nebula wiki IC2118. IC2118. Anything that starts with IC, I always want to understand that IC to be I and then SEE. IC 2118. IC 2118. Well, you know, I don't see that we've ever imaged it. So I don't think we've ever tried it before. So that's a very good question. Boy, that's an unmistakable image though, huh? You can definitely see the lady from The Wizard of Oz with her little bike and Toto in the basket. Ah, ah, ah. You know, she's going to call her monkeys and start flying after Dorothy and yeah. Well, I think it could be done. Let's go over here to Stellarium and say IC2118 I think it could be done. See. We'll see what that part of the sky looks like. See if it's any better. Sucker holes. Right, folks. We had 19 degrees centigrade, clear skies, no wind last night. The first time I've imaged all night for about 2 months. Stu, IC2118, also known as Witchhead Nebula, due to its shape, is an extremely faint reflection nebula believed to be an ancient supernova remnant or gas cloud, illuminated by nearby supergiant star Rigel. Michael, we need some helicopters to clear those out. That would be a good idea, Michael. Stu, the nebula lies in the Eridanus constellation, about 900 light years from Earth. Ray, it's really faint. Its approximate magnitude is 13, apparent magnitude. Flower 5, stunning. Yeah, we've got stunning clouds, it looks like. Let's see. Oh my goodness, it's huge, isn't it? Look at that. Let's, is this the head part? Yeah, I see. So maybe like that. And then we can go center of screen. Actually, okay, so there we are. We're ready for it. As soon as those clouds clear away, you can see it's clearing there on the horizon. So this part of the sky should clear first. That entire bank is going to move out of the way. 3 degrees by 1 degree. Wow. That's crazy, isn't it? So they want to put the witch's head right there, but we'd rather image right here. Are any of these stars live? Yes. There we go. So you can see that cloud bank is starting to clear away. Yeah, Ray, your 9 1/4 edge, what is that? Probably, does that end up being 1125 millimeters or something when you are configured as an edge? Yes, I think our RASA is something like 2.1, maybe 2 degrees 1 minute, or 2 degrees 10 minutes maybe, by 1 degree 25 minutes, I think is the frame. And yes, a long integration time is probably right. There's a bit of light pollution, as you can see, in this part of the sky for us as well. The dome of Louisville. Flatwater 5, you're very encouraging. You're encouraging people to hit the like button, and you're saying it's endless learning. Oh my goodness. Is it really 2350, Simon? That's crazy. Yeah, so you would be pretty much aiming at one piece of this, wouldn't you? So you can see we're aiming over in the west-southwest portion of the sky, and Louisville's light dome is right here. You know, I've toyed with the idea of working in stellarium to show that light dome, but then I think it just, you know, illuminates that part of stellarium and makes it ugly, so I don't do it. But oh, that's good, Ray. So 1645, that's a little better. There we go. Now those clouds are moving out of the way. Let's go back. That's what we're seeing of the scope. Let's go back to our live view. I think we ought to be able to plate solve now on this through the clouds. And this is IC2118. An object request stream. That's a good idea. Where are you located? I hate Clavin Limb. And what is the deal behind your name? Is there somebody named Clavin Limb, like your next door neighbor, and he always leaves his porch lights on, or what? How did this, maybe we need to have some kind of a session with you, I hate Clavin Limb. Like, just lean back there in your chair and just tell us what's the origin of this feeling. We'll try to help you through this. So does this mean we're now oriented? If so, let's change this to 20 seconds. And let's change this to 100. Nah, it's a good friend of mine. We just make fun of him. Flywater 5, he still owes me money. Simon, you're in Perth, that's right. So let's have a look at the sky there. Okay, so it's clearing away. There's Orion. So you can see the belt of Orion, and there's Rigel would be in the lower right. And in the upper left there would be, see if I can get over to that screen. So here's the belt. Can you see my cursor? Yes, you should be able to. Here's the belt, and Betelgeuse or Betelgeuse, whichever you use, should be up here. Rigel would be down here. So just as soon as this bank is out of the way, we'll be able to start having a look at this dare that I Hate Clavin has gotten us. Aussies express love by calling each other names. Flywater 5 loves Australia. Gold nuggets the size of potatoes and the most beautiful opal on earth. All right, that ought to just about do it. Yes, so let's start live stacking here. Boy, it's hard to believe that we are oriented right. Everything wants to kill you, including the sheep. Okay, so now we'll make this our new block level. You see these little wave patterns down here are the light pollution. And more stars on your flag. The southern skies. How many stars does the Australian flag have? Thanks, Stu. You're very kind. So this is going to be the witch's head, or IC2118. And again, to get oriented here, well, that's not the witch's head, is it? What in the world happened here? Let's take another pass at this. So we're going to search one more time for IC2118. And let's aim for maybe that star. And then let's go over here and do one more plate solve, because something went awry with that plate solve. I thought it ended prematurely, to be honest. Let's try this again. Something went amok with this plate solve. So Australia has 6 and New Zealand has 4. Seems like this is a bit of a rivalry here. Spiders that can bite through boots. Poison toads. Oh, now we're very close. There we go. Okay. Now let's try this again. 20 seconds. 100 gain. Live stack. Clear the last one. The brighter bits of the nebula are at top. Beautiful octopi that can kill you with a touch. New Zealand and Aussie make a rivalry out of everything. Okay, so we're going to have the display histogram, the main histogram, darken the sky a bit. Bring up the mids a bit. And I can barely see the first, I think, inclination of it. I think at 40 seconds, but we'll let it continue to come in there. Lightning Ridge, Opal. Yes, all in good fun. And when we play rugby, who wins? Is it, what's that team called in New Zealand? Something black? Oh, thanks a lot. Elon or somebody just made us a nice little stripe there. We have this Sigma clipping turned on. And that Sigma clipping, I believe, is supposed to gradually get rid of things like satellite trails that show up in one frame and not the next. Probably need to raise the gain. We could do that. Ray, we can raise the gain. And the All Blacks, that's what it is, Stu. Flatwater 5 is encouraging us to share this channel with your friends. It's very kind of you, Flatwater 5. So what we were going to do is hustle our way through the Herschel 400, but I Hate Clav and Lim got us distracted here with the Witch's Head Nebula. Why is it, I guess it's because we're not glued onto the object, huh? Yeah. You're right, this is the brighter portion up here. But this is the shape that looks like the witch's head, right down here. We're going to pick up this as well. What is that? Is this another piece of nebulosity altogether? And then what is this? Curcial-Jausa. Well, let's take a look at some of our stars and see if we can find them in the in Stellarium. Here's a brighter star with about what? Boy, if you count these dim ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the bright one is the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in a row. Then there's an arc, completely like a satellite dish. And this will be like one of the struts of the satellite dish. So let's see what we got here. Is this our bright star, Curcial-Jausa? And here's our 1, 2, 3, 4, with 4 being the bright, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then here's our satellite dish. And this is the strut of the satellite dish. And if you follow the satellite dish and project a ray through it, not you as ray, but just a geometry type ray, it's going to aim at this part of this nebula, this bright star here. And that part of the nebula is in the middle of the nebula. Over here is the end. So here's that satellite dish. It's going to project to this star, and that's in the bright part of the nebula. and this is the end. So that nebula is right in here. So right around in here, that's 5 minutes of integration. Can't believe I've never imaged this before. Let's save this. It's already saved, and open up a plan that I use called Observe Next. And this is where I stick these kinds of things. And I'm going to say add an object. And the object we want to add is IC2118. I'm going to look for that, and I found it. It's going to put it in the plan. And then we're going to see, sure enough, we've never observed this before. I'm going to say, tonight we tried to observe the Witch's Head Nebula at 7 minutes. It still seemed not detected. Let's come back to this on another night when we have more time. How long do you think we would have to image this, gang, before it would show up? Ray says he can almost make it out. I Hate Clavin says it might be worth restarting it looking at the top. Mike could have you on from Atlanta. Yep, I think you're right. Get it out of that light polluted part of the sky, maybe. I Hate Clavin, Lim. Let's do what you're saying. Let's stop the live stack for a minute and let's see what it's like up here. Let's go for maybe that star. There goes the RASA. We shouldn't have to plate solve that because that was close enough. And then let's start again. And clear the live stack. Get rid of that satellite trail anyway. It says not very perfectly shapen stars. Let's clear that one more time. Wonder if we have some wind out there. Stu says, the satellite dish asterism. That's a great idea, Stu. Oh my goodness, Ray says we'll need 2 hours? I Hate Clavin Lim says probably 15 minutes of integration. Well, you've definitely got our curiosity up, I hate Clavin Limb. I don't think this is on the Herschel 400 list. I'm going to say over here, let's come back when we can dedicate at least 15 minutes, if not 2 hours. And that's Ray. And the 15 minutes was I hate Clavin Limb. With the RASA, it might be faster. Okay, now I wonder if we're going to see something here. Okay, again, just to get our bearings, look at this arc here. It looks like it's an upside down umbrella. See, here's the handle. There's the J of the umbrella handle. This is the bottom of the umbrella. Here's the top of the umbrella. Okay, so let's go over here. Boy, it's a star-rich part of the sky, isn't it? This might be our J here. And that might be the arc at the top of the umbrella. Yep, there it is, because look, this star's out of line. So here's the top of the umbrella, and look how this star jags down. This whole thing, it looks like the umbrella took a hit. There's a little crater in the umbrella, see? So here's the crater in the umbrella. There's the rest of the arc of the umbrella. Look how these four, that makes a top of the umbrella. Goes over here, then it comes down, and here's the J. So once again, here's the J, it comes up here. There's the top of the umbrella. There's the top, and here's the little crater in the side of the umbrella. Okay, but I'm not seeing too much. Okay, maybe just a little bit. There you go. Now we're going to count this as the beginning of that nebulosity. And we're going to say that we started getting this after about 4 minutes. But it was just the beginning. So I'm going to go over here and edit this observation. And for the top, the brighter part, we started seeing nebulosity after just 4 minutes. But it was clear we would indeed benefit from 15. I think you're right, spot on, Ray. I think that yeah, Stu, you're right. But at least now we're starting to see nebulosity. So we're going to just snap a picture of this, so next time we look, there'll be this dirty picture. And I hate Clavin Limb. Thanks for that dare. We'll come back to this. All right, let's go to the next target, and we'll come over here and we'll save this view next deal. We're going to go back to the Herschel 400 Oh, I see, it kept it open. And we're going to go back to that glob. And the reason why we're going to do the glob next, well look, the clouds are still giving us trouble too. The reason why we're going to do the globular first, or try to, is because it is the only thing that's not a galaxy. So we're going to go to NGC 4147. NGC 4147. NGC 4147. It's the kick the can cluster, globular cluster. And we're looking in the just slightly south of east. Just slightly south of east. And we're up about 38 degrees. So you see here on our screen, you can see kind of where we are. This is east and there's southeast. And we're up about 38 degrees. So for orientation, see, we don't need those constellation boundaries on. Why are those on? Why are the constellation boundaries on? That's crazy. Anyway, here's Virgo, here's Boötes, and Leo the Lion. So we're right off of Leo the Lion's tail for orientation. And here's the part of the sky where we're viewing. This is NGC 4147. And what does that COM stand for anyway? Coma Berenices. Coma Berenices. Coma Berenices. About 3/4 of a degree correction here since it's our second object. NGC 4147 is a globular cluster of stars in the northern constellation of Coma Berenices. It was discovered by English astronomer William Herschel on March 14th, 1784. Ricky, good to have you on from Florida. It's located around 60,000 light years. 60,000 light years away from the sun. It's a relatively small glob, ranking 112th in luminosity among the Milky Way globular cluster population. This is NGC 4147. The only globular cluster remaining in the Herschel 400 list for us tonight. It's 60K away from the sun, relatively small, 112th in luminosity. I wonder if that's it right there right there. I wonder if that's it. That would be very tiny, wouldn't it? Let's do this first. Let's do that. And then let's do this. And right there it is. So it is a small globular, and it's got, that's at 200%. It's got a pattern of several stars around it that are pretty loosely held. But right there in the middle, definitely has a core. I wonder if we should back off the greens just one click. Yeah, that's better. Brighter core, but lots of loosely held stars. It may have been captured by the Milky Way after separation from the Sagittarius dwarf spheroidal galaxy. I don't guess we've seen many southern objects, IA Clavinlem. The big cloud you guys have, the Magellanic Cloud. Okay, next object. We're going to finish this observation. Now what we can do is we can start up at the top, and we're just going to work our way down these galaxies. So the first one is 3384, NGC 3384, and we'll slew to it. Look at all those clouds still kind of plaguing our way. None of those were supposed to be here tonight. This was supposed to be crystal clear. Still is said to be crystal clear. Well, this is one of those times when clear outside is kind of letting us down, because quite obviously it is not clear, as you can see, but maybe they're on their way out now. Let's head back to here. The Herschel 400 list was originally part of about 2,500 different objects that William Herschel discovered. And of those 2,500, I believe it was the Astronomy Club in St. Augustine, Florida, which first curated 400 of those 2,500 objects that they thought were maybe the best. 3384. And this was back around, let's see, page 110. This was back around the 1780s, I believe, that William Herschel observed. But I think the club in St. Augustine did this much, much later. 1976 is when they first published a letter, and they had set up an informal Herschel club. Do I have that wrong? Was it the one in St. Augustine? No, I don't think it was. It was in Pittsburgh. And this guy in Pittsburgh wrote, his name's James Mullaney. He wrote that 2,600 is so big. And he first reduced it to 615. And, then the Ancient City Astronomy Club. That's what it is. The Ancient City Astronomy Club in St. Augustine then called it down to 400. And they are the ones that submitted the 400 list. So I thought there was something to do with St. Augustine in there. Okay, let's do our best with this galaxy here real quick. We actually have several galaxies, don't we? So we have to figure out which one. We have two brighter galaxies that would be considered probably elliptical. And then we have here one that's spiral. So let's dash over and show chart here. Okay, so there are the two ellipticals, and 3884 is the, what you might consider the, what would that be considered? The, if this is the base, then that's the top of the right triangle. So it's at the base of the right triangle. So that would be this one then, wouldn't it? This is 3384 right here. Look, there's a little tiny star out to the side of it. Let's see if we can zoom in. There's that little tiny star out to the side of it. You notice over here, there's no little tiny star. So look at this oval glow. 3384. It's a bright and obvious companion galaxy to 3379. Oh my goodness, that's all he says. A round core and a dim extensions that taper off. The galaxy's core becomes very bright, still ill-defined. Now I don't suppose that, now there's M105, if you remember from the Messier list. I don't suppose 3389 is part of the Herschel list. No, unfortunately it's not. And there's M96 and 3412. Nothing else in that frame except for our friend 3384. The base of the right triangle oval glow, bright core, a tiny star just adjacent. Is it part of the galaxy? There's a spiral nearby, not on the Herschel list. And that spiral is NGC 3389. NGC 3389. NGC 3384 is an elliptical galaxy in the constellation Leo. The galaxy was discovered by William Herschel. It's a member of the M96 group. This group includes the Messier objects 95, 96, and 105. All these objects are close to each other in the sky. Herschel 400 is a lot catchier than the Herschel 2360. That's great, Stu. Top left. Yeah, M105 to the right, 3389 lower left. Could that little star be a supernova? Save the picture. M105 is top, NGC 3389 at the bottom right. You know, if it's a supernova, it was here when they made Stellarium. That's the problem. Because look, there it is in Stellarium. Let's click on it. And it does identify it as a star, but not anything to write home about that's famous. It's not actually a named or a remembered star in Stellarium, but it is visible. Okay, we'll snap a picture though, one way or the other. Nice. So that's. Let's go now to NGC 4112. NGC 4112. I'm sorry, 4111. NGC 4111. NGC 4111. NGC 4111. I wonder if I ought to try not doing all these. down here. It looks like the clouds are clearing away, doesn't it? I'm a little bit Pollyanna, aren't I? NGC 4111. And I just have to wonder if 4111 is going to be close in O'Meara's book. We use Stephen James O'Meara's book on these. NGC 4111. Why isn't it in this list? 4111 isn't here. Must be in one of the... No, that's the right index. Why is 4111 not in the list? NGC 4111. A lenticular galaxy. It doesn't identify it as being on the Herschel list. Could this be a mistake? Oh yeah, it is. At least it is in here. H195-1. H195-1 Herschel. Wow. It's in Canis Venetici. And it's 4111. Right there it is. Did Stephen James O'Meara leave it out of his index? Oh my goodness. Steve, did you leave, kind of let us down, buddy? It is not. It is MIA in his index. Let's look under galaxies. This has got to be part of the errata. Let's look under the Herschel number H195-1. H195. Yeah, 182. Left it out of his index. 182. Page 182. There it is. Okay, I'm going to have to add it to his index. NGC. NGC 4111 is on page 182. Errata. Okay, look at that. Isn't that cool? Looks like a little flying saucer there, doesn't it? Very cool. So edge on. I mean, it is just as edge on as you can get. It's a lenticular galaxy in the constellation Canis Venatici. It's located 50 million light years from Earth and is about 55,000 light years across, discovered by William Herschel in 1788. Now, remind me, is lenticular, do you just say lenticular when it doesn't have spiral arms? Is that the deal? How can this be lenticular? It so much looks like a spiral. Lenticular, 50 million, that's very far away, isn't it? 50 million light years from Earth. 55,000 light years across. It's characterized by a series of dusty filaments running through its center. It might be worth stacking a little while for them. Dusty filaments. Looked like an edge-on spiral to me. Stu writes, lenticular contains a large-scale disk but does not have large-scale spiral arms. Yep. Has a pronounced brighter bulge. In that disk right there, can just begin to see the beginnings of maybe a star right there that's probably part of the galaxy and is maybe from a recently formed star, a star-forming region. Look at that, how we're starting to see those filaments, I think. My imagination is telling me. This is NGC 4111, right? Let's go out here and say NGC 4111. Oh my goodness, yeah, look. That's crazy, isn't it? And there's that little star we were seeing. But look at this, almost like one of those jets. Remember, we saw this the other night with M87. When we were doing the Messier list, remember? And they called it some kind of jet. A relativistic jet. See how that jet shoots out from this? Now look at this. This looks like maybe it could be something similar. Ray likes face-on spirals. They reckon it swallowed another galaxy. Oh, so this is not a relativistic jet, but an effect of a cannibalism. The water vapor megamaser. Yeah, you have a good memory. There's a tiny, tiny something or other right here, just the slightest let's look at this in Stellarium. For context, it looks like we're above We're like east-northeast. So here's the Big Dipper, and we're kind of below the pan. There's no image here. But look in the same frame, we might be able to see 4143, and that is on our list. So let's go glance at that, 4143. So 4143 is down here. We're looking at 4111. I don't right away see anything else that's on the Herschel 400 list here. But this is a galaxy-rich part of the sky, isn't it? Maybe you guys have been on the channel before, so you know that this deep sky image annotation, after you've plate solved, the software knows exactly what you're looking at, and it overlays these labels on your live view. So this is live through the telescope right now as we're looking at it. And then what the software has done is overlaid these labels so we can kind of like click them on and off. And we know this is 4143 here. And we know this is 4111. It's really kind of a beautiful flying saucer. There are filaments at right angles. We weren't seeing a lot of those. And the other is 4143, which is right here, remember. That just looks like a elliptical. Has that elliptical glow and the bright core. We could make out the bright core and an elliptical glow. That's about it. Yeah, the antennae galaxies we have. I hate clapping them. Yeah, I think we did the antenna galaxies earlier, way earlier in the Caldwell list maybe. Got anything about 4143, Stu? NGC 4143? Omira says, small and somewhat dim, not as condensed as 4111. A dim, round spot. Averted vision is required to see it. For 4111, Omira says, very small, very bright core. With averted vision, it swells to 2 arc minutes with a round, tenuous halo. Has a very intense quasi-stellar nucleus surrounded by a very bright and condensed inner core. Under very dark sky with averted vision, you can see the tapered disk. Larger telescopes show this needle-sharp galaxy quite spectacularly. But we kind of wish we would see. Oh, now we're starting to see some barely. Barely. Not much of it, though. That's 14 minutes. That's probably long enough for our purposes, isn't it? We probably shouldn't stay much longer than this. It would take quite a bit more time on this. Okay, let's head off. To 3489. Wiki has nothing. Okay. NGC 3489. I guess we didn't move very much, did we? Eclipse on the 8th of April. Huh. Is it a lunar eclipse, I take it? I've always joked that the lunar eclipses I've watched is like photographing a glacier moving. This is NGC 3489. No image. 3485. 3485. Looks like 3489 is in a frame by itself. I hate Clov and Lim. The community, yeah, we all kind of return back here and observe together, but we don't use a Discord server. And part of that's just because, you know, I think we're more focused on observing than we are the Discord visiting. But 3489 is a lenticular galaxy located in the constellation Leo at a distance of 30 million light years from Earth, about 30,000 light years across, discovered by William Herschel April 8th, 1784. So let's stretch that and then stretch this. But we have heard the other night, it was suggested that we should do a Discord server, but I guess we just didn't get started on that yet. And frankly, we wondered if we were going to do Discord, why wouldn't we just do it on Zoom? But we could do a Discord server if you guys want. It's up to you guys. I don't mind. Boy, this is tiny. Look how tiny that is. Looks like a bright core and another oval. Lenticular, 30 million light years away, 30,000 light years across. Not as wide as the Milky Way, huh? Yeah, it would be nice to post pictures. However, electronically assisted astronomy never results in like true astrophotos, and so they're always, I think, to compare with astrophotography, they're a little bit of a letdown. But you guys can definitely post pictures in like AstroBin or something. Let's save this as scene, and let's get on to the next object, which would be 3608. About 14 of us on the live stream. Look, those clouds have cleared away now, haven't they? Kind of over at the edge of the sky. And GC 3608. Now in this frame we should have 3607, which is on the list. Looks like 3608 and 3607 are both on the Herschel 400 list. I don't know about that. I've seen great EAA processed images. Well, that's true, Ray. I guess I'm just feeling bad because they don't look like the ones you see that the Hubble telescope took, or these astrophotos of the day, NASA APODs. But yeah, you're right. They're okay. Working on my last 5-minute capture of the Flame Nebula. Cool. These are like little headlights. Now we need to figure out, is 3608 on the left? No, how can we tell? Look at this matching pair of stars. 3608 is over here. Yeah, it would be on the left. And look how it makes a triangle with two brighter stars. Here they are. Here's the little triangle that it makes. Well, now wait, that's a triangle, but that's an isosceles triangle, whereas this is not. Here's that isosceles triangle. So this is 3608 and that's 3607. And they both remind me of just lenticulars with a brighter core again. Sorry. Thanks. Thanks, too. So see how in Stellarium, the planetarium software, 3608 has two brighter stars and it's a little bit off. Whereas 3607 has two stars and it's more like a clown's hat. And there's a star opposite it. So this is 3608 and this is 3607 with the star opposite it. This is the dunce cap. That's more like a right angle triangle. A right triangle. So for 3608, what do we say? An elliptical. Not much, huh, Stu? Stu's going to go out for a smoke break. Okay, thanks, Stu. Let's see if Almira says anything else about 3608? 3608 on page 131. Small but fairly obvious elliptical. Has a glow slightly smaller and dimmer than 3607. Star-like core. That's it. So these two are kind of similar. Star-like core glow. And 3607 a little brighter than companion 3608 elliptical star-like core. All right, next is 3166. You can see the scope moving a little more toward the meridian. (3166) (3166). Okay, so it's with 3169, which is also on our list. 2-for-1 special again. And 3156, which is not on our list. Wow. This is beautiful. 3169. Both of those should be in this frame, in this field of view. All right, Ray. I think it's cool that you do the same kind of observing out there, EAA as well. (3166). (3166) 108. So again, two brighter galaxies in the middle. And look how this galaxy 3169 has a companion star, pretty bright, and this one doesn't. It's just got a very tiny star. So here's 3169 on the left, and here's 3166 with its very faint companion star here on the right, or on the top. Both of them, again, just look fairly much like ellipticals with a round glow, don't they? Bright core, round glow. I mean, bright core, oval glow, tiny. Four arc minutes. That's 3166. And 3169 companion, brighter core, oval glow, and 4 arc minutes as well. 1645. That's a great focal length for these galaxies. Bright circular glow around 2 arc minutes diameter that gets increasingly brighter. (3169) slightly smaller and slightly dimmer. So 3169 is the one that has a little more of a dust lane action. Yeah, it's this one with this companion star. See this dust lane here just starting to form up. See, there's that dust lane. I'm zooming way into digital zoom. But see, that kind of reminds you of the black eye galaxy we saw the other night in the Messier Marathon, remember? (3169) is a spiral galaxy about 75 million light years away. Pure, unbarred spiral, tightly wound arms, and peculiar features. See the peculiar features. But there's that dust lane that reminds us of the black-eyed galaxy. The arms are a little bit loose, as if they've interacted with 3166. So 3169. This galaxy has a pronounced dust lane visible by 4 minutes of integration. The arms are wider, as if it has interacted. Okay. $73 objects remaining. Let's head for NGC 4151. 4151. NGC 4151. Michael could see the dust lane. NGC 3169 is located in close proximity to 3166, and the two have separation around 160,000 light years to the width of the Milky Way. Their action is creating a gravitational distortion that has left the disk of 3166 warped. So this is 4151. 41 and GC 4151. And it's called the Eye of Sauron. Sounds like a Star Trek episode, doesn't it? 4156 is nearby. But I don't see that on the Herschel 400 list. 4145, no. Cool. It's more face on, so Ray should like this one. The Eye of Sauron. It's an intermediate spiral Seyfert galaxy with weak inner ring structure located 52 million light years from Earth in the constellation Canis Venatici. Boy, whenever that heater goes off, I start feeling the temperature. What is the temperature out there? Oh, it's 29 degrees. No wonder. I have to keep a little bit of that warm air on my feet or else I start to feel the temperature. I know you guys are going to call me a wimp though because it's probably 68 degrees in here. And I'm so glad I don't have to sit out there in the observatory where it is 29.8 Fahrenheit. Look, there's a nice companion over here. But our target is here in the middle. Interesting. It has outer ears almost like. This is 4151. Let's see, these are the outer ears that we're starting to see. See that outer shell? And then the inner is just like an oval, like exactly like an eye, an EYE eye. But this is the outer ring structure. (4151). Inner ring structure located 52 million light years. Ray, one day you'll have to switch back to your 11-inch RASA. That'd be great, Ray. Stu, it's one of the nearest galaxies to Earth to contain an actively growing supermassive black hole. The black hole would have a mass on the order of 2.5 million to 30 million solar masses. Oh my goodness, Stu, you have 77 degrees? That's crazy. Tauranga, New Zealand. Boy, that inner ring structure is super dim apparently, but we're seeing for some reason, or maybe this is the inner that we're seeing. And maybe the outer is out here somewhere. Yes, I bet that's exactly what it is. I bet this is the eye, and then the outer ring structure is out here. Let's look at these stars. Here are two stars, and here are two stars. So it's almost like moons of this core. So these would be the two stars, and these would be the two stars. And the two stars that are closer, the closest star of all is the edge of the inner. So yes, this is the inner part of the eye, just grazing that star. And then these outer rings, this inner star is the edge of the outer rings. So out here, we don't have those yet. Excuse me. This is 4151. Yeah. Inner ring structure adjacent to the inner star of the inner pair. Outer ring structure, outer fainter ring structure adjacent to the inner star of the other pair. Ken, good to have you here. I've been seeing you messaging on Facebook, Ken. Stu says, it's an intermediate spiral, Seyfert galaxy. Weak inner ring structure, 52 million light years from Earth. One of nearest with a supermassive black hole. Oh, Lord of Rings. Eye of Sauron is a Lord of the Rings reference. Can we send it out by email and also by YouTube? So maybe try subscribing to this YouTube channel. Maybe you'll get it here. So sorry. Nice. Now look at it. Can definitely spot the inner eyeball here. But 7 minutes is not enough for the outer ring structure. All right, let's head to 4203. NGC 4203. Ring the bell. Flatwater 5 is trying to get people to click thumbs up or the bell and also to subscribe. Thank you, Flatwater5. Also, if you notice on the YouTube channel, by the way, there is a place where you can buy merchandise now. And the easiest way to do it is to click Store right here, and then just click any of these links. Sorry. You get there by going to Emerald Hill Skies in YouTube, Emerald Hill Skies channel. I wonder if you can just can you just type in YouTube here, and then in the YouTube search blank, can you just put in Emerald Hill Skies? Yeah. So once you're here, you could click on Store and then just click on any link, and it'll take you to see things like mugs, and up here at the top there are all kinds of other products. You can get hoodies, t-shirts, and we'll keep adding to this list. So that's at the spread shop for Emerald Hill Skies. You can probably say spread shop Emerald Hills Skies. No, that's a little harder. So it's easier just to go here and then click on Store. Oh yeah, there you go. Below the video, below any video, you should see these. And you can click on Spread Shop and see other merchandise. There's several of you had asked about that, so. 4203, NGC 4203. Page 190. Again, we're using the Stephen James O'Meara book, Herschel 400 Observing Guide. And on page 190, he's written about 4203. He says it's small, round, lenticular, comet-like glow, round, diffuse with a star-like nucleus. Lenticular galaxy, Coma Berenices. You're nice, Flatwater5, to encourage. (4203). For context, this is due east, and we're up about 44 degrees. (4203), 4227, 4229, 4203. So I wonder if this isn't 4203 here. How did Herschel pick this out? did he see this, man? I don't think I would have ever noticed that. The merchandise has been there for maybe a couple of months. Planets lining up on March 28th. Venus, Jupiter, Mars, Mercury, Uranus. Cool. So 4203... another lenticular with a brighter core and an outer comet-like glow. Not much else was visible. This is 4203. A tiny little comet. A dim comet with bright inner coma. All right, let's head to 4214. That was very close. Huh. Do you know it's not finding that? It's not in Stellarium. How can this be? How can there be an NGC object not in Stellarium? Weird. It's a dwarf barred irregular galaxy. 10 million light years away in Canis Venatici. I find this disconcerting that this wasn't in Stellarium. I'm going to look this up in Sky Safari Pro. NGC 4214. Yes, it's there. So here's my question. Why does my phone have this? This is looking over the scope is looking almost due east. Both larger and brighter than the Small Magellanic Cloud. Wonder why Stellarium's not got it. Sure a tiny thing, isn't it? Dwarf barred irregular. Dwarf barred irregular. Kind of science. Nice. Stu. There's no competition among lighthouses, Stu. It's interesting science because at a high rate of star formation. This means that new stars are constantly being born in the galaxy's nebulae, which are clouds. High rate of star formation. Otherwise, fairly nondescript in our view. I mean, it might have just looked like a normal star to us. But obviously, Herschel saw something more than that. So that's 4214. Let's do one more, 3593. NGC 3593. Is the mount settled? Yes, I think so. 3593. It's with a couple of other IC objects, but no other NGC object. Wow, look at that. What? If that's a galaxy, why does it have 4 stars there really near? $35.93. Fairly nondescript. Must be it right there in the middle. Has been the birthplace of a lot of stars. A bar through its center where everyone goes for drinks. No, that's not true. Yes, on Twitter also, but I don't ever use it, Ken. Emerald Hill Skies is a Twitter handle. We've studied 4214 to understand how galaxies form. Cana science. Low, heavy elements. All right, let's see if we can. Boy, it sure looks tiny. super tiny. 5 arc minutes. $29.74. Oh, rats, we're out of time, aren't we? Well, let's finish by just glancing at the Leo triplet. Yep, sorry, Stu. At least it lets us delete them now. I made it so that you had to join, you had to subscribe in order to post, and they must have developed a, a device or an algorithm that lets the bot subscribe. Well, so that brings us to the Leo triplet just to close out. Sorry we spent about a half an hour on that very faint object at first. We will look for another clear night beginning of next week, and we'll come back to this. So far, it looks like we're down to 69 objects left of the 402. I'll update this on the website, emeraldhillskies.com. I also put on the website, under resources, the list of the Messier objects and the order that we did them in for the Messier Marathon. You might still want to do a marathon, and that order really worked well. So that's available, and it shows the objects that we saw. But I'll update the list of the Herschel 400 objects so you'll see the 69 that we have left, and they are all galaxies. So we'll come back to these. They're all pretty good altitudes now. Like, for instance, right now, if we were to have another, we have 69 to go. If we went at the pace that we did the other night, we could get through these in another 2 hours maybe. So all we need is a night when we just plow through these 3 minutes at a time and don't get distracted and everything, and we can finish this Herschel 400 list. But it is fun to get distracted a little bit, isn't it, at the intricacies of some of these galaxies, and a lot of them that are lenticular look kind of alike. But here's the Leo triplet. You can see the one on the left that typically gets referred to as the hamburger galaxy. I can't imagine why they would call it that. Can you? Somebody said the other night it looks like it was in one of those presses. So the hamburger galaxy is NGC 3628. And then you've got NGC 3623, which is also known as M65, and M66. So M65 and M66 here Really a beautiful triplet together in one very compact field of view. We'll shoot just a screen grab of these at 2 minutes. Leo triplet 2 minutes on 2023-03-17, we'll call it. St. Patrick's Day Astronomy. So thanks for being a part of this, gang. If you like this kind of content, it would be great if you go ahead and subscribe. It's always great if you click that thumbs up. That puts this higher in other people's searches. If you like it and want to be notified, click that bell. And we'll be back. And hopefully we won't have as many clouds in the first hour as we did in the first hour of tonight. You guys are great, the way you all team up and you help. That makes this a team sport. And it's a lot more fun that way. It's not out there in the 28-degree observatory. Instead, we're here together and we're able to kind of comment on these at the same time, like the Leo triplet. So again, thanks, and thanks to God for making all these great images, and we'll see you in the next one. God bless and good night. From Emerald Hill.